Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at Chapter 2, Section 3, which is titled Trade Networks of Africa and Asia. Again, we're talking about uh, how we're going to start to see some growth of trade networks between one part of the world and the other. And in order to connect that to how our continent would eventually be settled by European groups, the British, the French, the Spanish, the Dutch. We're going to look at those early trade networks that connected Africa and Asia. Chapter 2, Section 3. We are going to look at a few vocab terms. There are 9 total vocab words in this section, Chapter 2, Section 3. We've got 5 on the reading here. The rest, all the 9 are included in your Quizlet deck. Let's hop right to it. Trade Networks of Africa and Asia, Chapter 2, Section 3. First vocab term is going to be the first global age. And we're talking about in the 1400s, the first time that faraway places became linked through trade. First time that faraway places are going to become linked through trade. Islam, the second term, is a religion founded in about 622 AD in the Arab world, and it was founded by the Prophet Muhammad. City-state is a large town that has its own government and controls the surrounding countryside, a city-state. Kinship is the sharing of a common ancestor. If you have kinship with someone, you are basically acknowledging that you share a common ancestor. Okay. And the last word on the reading today is extended family. Extended family is several generations in the same family living in the same household. This is usually characterized by children, parents, and grandparents living in the same household. Extended family. All right, let's hop right to our reading today on the trade networks of Africa and Asia. The first paragraph here, follow along if you would. Long before Europeans reached North America, the first global age was underway. For the first time, places separated by great distances were linked through trade. The Silk Road was a key overland route that connected China, India, and Africa, the Silk Road. And we're going to see a video in class on the Silk Road. It is not a highway like we have highways today. It wasn't marked Silk Road, but it certainly was a path. It was a route that was traveled by early traders that connected China, India, and Africa. Thanks to this and other routes, cities in Asia, Africa, and the Mediterranean region and the Middle East were now connected. The Middle East was an important center of trade. Arab merchants played a large role in this growing trade, and the growth of trade was also linked to the spread of the new religion, Islam. The followers of Islam are called Muslims. So the name of the religion is Islam, and people who practice Islam are called Muslims. Okay? Trade routes connected cities within the vast continent of Africa as well. The city-states in Zimbabwe in East Africa were in contact with the trading kingdoms of Mali and Songhai in West Africa. Trade brought goods as well as Islam to Africa. In Africa, most people lived in villages and hunted, fished, and farmed for survival. Africans valued relationships based on kinship and extended family. People who shared common ancestors were very loyal to one another. And that is why we're going to see in many of these African societies, the living arrangements most times included people from multiple generations living in the same household, and not just children, parents, and grandchildren, but aunts, uncles, and cousins as well. In the early 1400s, people in African coastal cities might have seen a fleet of Chinese trading ships led by Zheng He. The fleet expanded Chinese trade routes and influence and opened China to the world. And although Chinese explorations and expeditions never reached North America, some historians speculate that if those expeditions had crossed the Pacific Ocean, American history might have turned out very different. But for reasons that we will discuss in class, Chinese influence did not expand and reach to North America, and we'll discuss why in detail in class. Down below our reading, we have a cause and effect chart. And what I would like you guys to do, in addition to practicing the vocab on Quizlet, if you could make sure that you answer the 2 questions below in a Google Doc and share those with me from your Google Class folder. The first question is going to be based on the reading. What areas of the world were connected by trade routes in the 1400s? Okay. What areas of the world were connected by trade routes in the 1400s? And the chart skills, you will use the chart above here to answer the second question. What effect did Arab merchants have on the world in the 1400s? What effect did Arab merchants have on the world? So here you got the cause of Arab merchants expanding their trade and the effects. Please answer both questions in full sentences and in a Google Doc. Also, this mini lecture, this screencast video, as well as your vocab terms on Quizlet will be linked to your Schoology page. Make sure that you're looking at your vocab terms for Chapter 2, Section 3, and preparing for your weekly vocab quiz on those terms. There are 9 terms total, and you need to study the full deck. Only 5 words appear in the screencast.